probably about 7 years ago, I think. Anyway, I started learning about habits because I wanted to figure out how to get not only myself, but others to actually take action and do something. A lot of times, we'll tell our patients what to do, and then they don't always follow up. We use the word compliant a lot. Like, how can we get our patient more compliant? But also as nurses, how can we actually execute the habits that make the biggest difference? So you gave me a really good intro about a little bit about my life. I'm married, I have 4 kids and labradoodles. I worked in the PACU. That was the last place that I worked. And then I started to stay at home with my 2 little boys once my husband was a physical therapist and done with school. One of my sons had severe asthma, and so he needed me at home. And so from there, I started getting into natural medicine, just trying to get him off of the high doses of inhalers that he was on, and prednisone and antibiotics and everything else that comes along with severe asthma. So I really started studying natural medicine, which definitely includes nutrition. And over time, I've had my own weight loss journey. So I was going to share that and then share with you guys what I've learned about habits and how you can implement what I've learned into your own lives so that you can create the habits that you want. And if there's any questions, just put them in the chat. I'd love to have this be interactive. So I did give myself the job title. I do have my bachelor's degree. I'm a registered nurse, and I've done a lot of continuing education. Like Claudia said, I haven't been working in the hospital for about 10 years at this point. And so I've done a lot of courses on habit formation and nutrition and mindful eating, all of that. But really what it comes down to is getting someone to do something that they know that they should, which is a habit. So I created the job title Habit Creation Specialist, and then Mindset and Body Transformation Coach. So, I mean, anyone can lose 10, 20 pounds, but to actually keep it off is another issue. And I realized that you really need to focus on body or on mindset and emotions. Okay, I'm gonna see if I've been trying to switch the slide here. There we go. So I did create objectives for this course, but I think I'll just dive into it. But I'll read through these real quick. So understand willpower and habit formation, why clarity matters, the importance of systems, how to create or break habits, the power of accountability, and then how to create a morning and evening routine that will fuel and produce results. And Claudia, feel free to ask any questions along the way if you would like more clarity with what I'm sharing.
Sure. Yeah.
So my story starts in nursing school. This is a picture of me about 22 years ago, and my best friend, Christy. I actually called her Cardio Chris because she taught aerobics classes in addition to going to nursing school, and she was the type that would run 5 miles before showing up to class. So Cardio Chris was just a nickname that fit. I love giving people nicknames. So she gave me a nickname in return, Nurse Kate. And I didn't realize that I would brand myself Nurse Kate like 15 years later online, but it's kind of a catchy name. So we had way more fun in nursing school than we probably should have. So Christy was my go-to anytime that I needed to lose weight, which was quite a bit once I started having kids, and I have 4 kids, like I mentioned. I gotta move this picture. But there was one point, probably about 10 years ago, where Christy asked me, she's really good about getting really clear. And I'd worked with her several times, and she asked me, she said, why do you keep recycling the same 20 pounds? And at first I was like, okay, ouch, that kind of stings, you know. I was a little bit offended, but we're good enough friends that we remained friends. And it kind of bugged me because I didn't know. I don't know why I keep recycling the same 20 pounds, but I thought, I'm actually paying you. So isn't that a good thing? Like, I'm a repeat customer. But she wanted me to actually maintain, which is awesome, which is what a good coach would do. So at this point, I'm just going to show some before and after pictures. That's something that I'd always thought about. So I ended up losing the weight that I needed to, and then fast forward probably, I don't know, like 5 more years, I had baby number 4, and the weight wouldn't come off this time. I tried an anti-inflammatory diet. I was eating really well, and I couldn't get the weight off. So I actually went to a doctor that drew my blood, and I thought, okay, it's got to be my thyroid. And everything came back normal except for I had mild to moderate adrenal fatigue, which is pretty common in our society. So I decided to finally ditch flour and sugar. And I was freaked out of my mind because I was going to do this really consistent. And Christy told me, she's like, just commit to it for 6 weeks and see how it goes. And it was going really well. And so I kept going. And this is about 12 weeks, a 12-week difference.
Oh, yeah, that's a good difference there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was pretty much sold on it. And not only did I get the results I wanted, but my mind was free from wanting food or like sugar and flour. And then also my taste buds changed. And so fruit tasted really, really sweet. So I've maintained this now for, it's almost been 3 years. In August, I started eating that way. But now that I'm in my right size body, I will occasionally have splurges. So I'm about 95% sugar and flour free, specifically white flour. So these are a little bit more vulnerable, but I feel like they really show the difference. This was from January 2018 until actually January 2021, but it took me about 8 months to get to this point, but a huge difference. And I do have to say, during the weight loss journey and still now, I just walk and I do yoga. I don't do a ton of like weightlifting or anything. I know I need to incorporate that, but I'm able to maintain the size that I want just through eating.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it is mostly diet for weight loss purposes, at least. Yeah.
Yep. So I've really had to work on my mindset as far as focusing on the benefits. And for me, I do have a daughter, and I coach her competition soccer team. And when I first started the no sugar, no flour thing, it was the beginning of the season. And then by the end, I remember I was 25 pounds lighter, and I ran across the field, and I just remember that feeling of feeling light, and that I felt like I was in college again, and I had been training like it. I don't know. I'll never forget that feeling. And then also just like water, surfing behind the boat, hiking. Here's a year apart from my weight loss, being able to hike. You talked about hiking in Southern Utah. Huge difference there. It's just so much easier when you're not packing around the extra weight. And then something I know a lot of women might relate to is getting family pictures. So this picture is right after I had my baby. And I remember asking, oh, sorry, my little guy came in.
There's one of them just as we talk. Hi.
Say hi.
Hello.
So when he was a newborn, I asked the photographer, I'm like, can you just position me so I look about 20 pounds lighter? Oh. So I was probably about 35 pounds heavier in this picture. Didn't love it, but we needed the family pictures. But it is awesome to be in your right size body and be able to get pictures whenever you want. I might need to go take him back to his babysitter in the other room. Is he okay if I run to do that really fast?
No.
Do you want to talk for a minute?
Okay, yeah, we can pause for a minute.
Okay, I'll be right back. Um,
Well, while Katie returns, yeah, the power of habit is so important, way more than willpower. I mean, I think both are intertwined with the willpower to stick to the habits. But once you have the habit down and you really set a time when you're going to do certain things like exercise or eat or pre-planned meals, I think it goes a long way. So, and Katie's showing us some beautiful transformation pictures here.
okay. Thank you. Sorry for the delay.
Right.
So once I had my success and I felt so much better, I wanted to help others with that. I think as nurses, we just naturally do that. Most of us who went into nursing did it because we wanted to help other people. So this is a gal that I coached, and she dropped 90 pounds. And
wow.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's
in
incredible.
9 months.
And how many months?
9.
9. Wow.
Yeah. Everyone thought that she had had a bariatric surgery, but really it was just being consistent. And she does suffer from PCOS, which, if you don't know much about that, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's closely related to type 2 diabetes. So anyway, just being consistent with it, she was able to get those results. And honestly, her story is what really inspired me to continue coaching, because she had been suffering for so many years. And you can see the difference. I mean, the first picture, she was kind of being funny because she didn't think it would work. And she thought I'd be the only one that would see the picture. But you can see the glow and the confidence and just how much better she feels, energy, digestion, everything. Like, she just feels amazing. So to me, it was like, okay, if I can do this and work around my kids' schedules, then that's what I want to do. So
yeah, that's amazing. It looks like 2 different people actually in that picture.
Yeah. There were a lot of people that didn't recognize her, that hadn't seen her for a while. They're like, oh, yeah. Here's another success story. I just have a few. She also was like borderline type 2 diabetes. Let's see, cholesterol issues, and then also she just wanted to fit in her clothes. So the picture on the right, she fits in a dress that she hadn't worn in years. And again, she's just glowing and so much happier. And I think she lost another 10 or 15 pounds after that picture.
Wow, great. Yeah.
And she didn't need cholesterol medication. Like, it resolved a lot of her issues as well.
Wow, that's great.
This is a recent picture. She had thyroid cancer and her thyroid removed, and was just lethargic, didn't have energy, couldn't lose weight. And she's down 40 pounds, and she has about 20 left to go, but she's like in the zone and doing awesome. So this is what motivates me. I love seeing transformations. And so I did give myself, like I said, these job titles. Through this, I've been able to connect with Cardio Chris. She's joined me, and we've created this system. So we work together. She's in the picture on the right. And then the nurse on the left, Brittany, she's joined us also, and we all work together, and we have a group coaching format, and it's a lot of fun to work with them. And we have about 60 people in our group at this point. But it's rewarding. I love this job. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about willpower and what it really is, and how you can overcome it, and how you can restore your willpower. So I love this quote. It's by Angela Duckworth. She's the author of Grit. Enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. And how many times is that true with a new habit or a new goal? We get really excited in the beginning and then it fizzles out. And I've always wondered what the deal was. Like, why do I do that? Why can't I like stick with this? And it comes down to willpower. A scientist discovered, sorry, I don't have his name handy, that there is an actual part in the brain that houses willpower. It's in the anterior cingulate cortex. And basically, we have so much willpower during the day, and then it's depleted over time. And some of the things that deplete willpower are making decisions, emotional regulation, and resisting temptation. All of those things deplete willpower. So I'm just going to spend a minute on that because this morning, I actually was getting ready for another presentation that I gave on this topic. They just happened to be on the same day. And I woke up to my 15-year-old requesting more screen time on his phone before his early morning football practice. Like, he woke me up and I was so ticked. And so I started my day with emotionally regulating and then the decision of, am I going to give him more screen time or am I not? And of course, I was like, no, I'm not giving you more screen time. You're not waking me up this early. But already, like, your willpower is starting to deplete. And then I went to go throw something away in the garbage and realized that my teenage boys didn't take it out to the curb. And so we got to, and it's a full garbage can. So we got to wait a whole other week. And I was like, so ticked. I'm like, seriously, guys, come on. So again, emotional regulation. So you can see how just in your day, like driving to work, traffic, certain coworkers, certain doctors. I know we're a group of nurses, just people that aren't so friendly. We have to emotionally regulate. We have to make decisions, especially as nurses. There's like multiple decisions that we have to make throughout the day. So really what we need is a plan that doesn't rely on willpower. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Just as an example of willpower, I like this analogy. You start your day with a full bucket of water, but every time you have to make a decision or emotionally regulate or resist temptation, you're taking water out of that bucket. So sometimes by 10 a.m., your bucket or your willpower store is gone. So I'm going to talk about how you overcome it. I love the book Willpower Doesn't Work. It's on Audible also. Willpower doesn't work, but decision, commitment, and design does. So that's what we'll be going more into. As far as this slide, this is obviously a picture of your brain and then the neurons within your brain, which are the nerve cells within your brain. 40% of what we do every day is habits, which is crazy to think about, but also makes total sense. So basically, a habit is a repeated behavior over time that becomes automatic. And you create those neural pathways that are well used within your brain. And you could compare this. I love this analogy of thinking about it as going for a hike. And that path has the deep grooves and it's easy to go along this path that's been used for like years. But say a tree fell on that path, you'd have to walk around and create a new path. And at first it's difficult, it's uncomfortable, but then it becomes the new normal and a new neural pathway is what you would compare it to. So when you're creating a new habit, it can be uncomfortable, it can even be unbearable. But if you continue to be consistent, then it becomes easy. It's just like driving a car or riding a bike or starting an IV. Like, that was something that was really hard for me. But then I worked in same-day surgery and it's like you're starting IVs all the time and it becomes easy. And you do it without thinking and you're actually having a conversation with a family member while you're starting an IV. So that's basically the idea behind habit formation. And the perk to creating the habit is so that you're not using your higher thinking part of your brain, which is your frontal lobe. when you form a habit, it's the hind part of your brain, and you can do other things. It frees up your brain to think about other things. So here's just some statistics that I wanted to share. Only 3% of Americans have written goals. 1% write their goals down daily. Here's a journaling prompt I wanted to share. What are your 3 big goals for the year? And less than 1% have a vivid vision. So the reason I'm talking about this, if you don't have goals or you don't have a life vision or vivid vision, whatever you want to call it, then it's hard to even, I mean, you don't even know what habits you want to create. So Claudia, I'm just curious, do you have goals written down or have a big 3 for the year that you're working toward?
Well, I am eating healthier. I was doing it on and off for a while, but just a few weeks ago, actually, I was feeling really fatigued and it's like, I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna like flip it and take all the knowledge that I know about diet and exercise and actually do it. So yeah, I'm doing that and exercising more and eating better and cutting carbs and things like that. So diet and exercise are big ones, and also just working on mindful nurses and helping expand our reach to nurses and promote their self-care, and also do well at my regular daytime job as well and learn more and more about it. I work in dementia care, so there's always like evolving things and information about that. So those are general goals. Can you describe vivid vision? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you'd ever heard about it. There's a book called Vivid Vision. Basically, it's the blueprint for your life. It's like the plans for your life. And what I've done is I focused on faith, family, friends, finances, and fitness, and then also my business. And what I've done is I've gone 3 years out, and I have about I think it's a 4 or 5 page document where I've written in present tense of me accomplishing those goals or becoming that person in that area within 3 years. And just for an example, because it's easier with numbers, but in the finance part, well, first of all, you write it out and then you share it with up to 5 people. And so, of course, I shared it with my husband, someone who could help you with your vivid vision. And I shared with him the finance part because you need to get the buy-in. And he was like, yeah, sure. I wanted to pay off our student loan and have 20% down to build a new house. And we were able to pay off the student loan. And then it was crazy. In the year 2020, I wrote it in January 2020, we were able to, I don't know if I should share an exact amount, but it was half of the amount for our 20% down on a new house, which was awesome. And then we were gifted some money from a family member, which was the 20%, which was awesome. So it was just cool to see that actually writing it down, putting it out there, sharing it with others helps you to reach your goal. Like it makes total sense, but no one really does it, you know?
Yeah, that's committing to yourself and
it was kind of, I was nervous to share it with others. I actually shared it with Christy, and I'll share the rest of that story, but I'm like, okay, if I'm going to share this means I got to actually do it.
Right.
So there were a few things in there that I've already seen happen, which is really cool.
That's great. And just reflecting back to reading it again after the 3 years and seeing what happened.
Yeah. So what I did is I recorded it on my phone. I just recorded it on my phone. And then I listen to it every day while I make my bed. And that gets me thinking about what I need to be working on that day. Because you know how it is, it's really easy to get distracted with everything else in life, and life can get hard. And then I remember I'm like, okay, that's what I'm working towards and why I'm working towards it. So
Right.
that's
Yeah,
what I've
that's
been
great. Keeping it on your mind every day.
doing.
Great.
So yeah, if someone is wanting to get started with that, you could even just go 90 days out, like what area of my life do I want to improve in 90 days, and then do the same sort of thing, like record it, listen to it, whatever goals that you have. So the first step is in creating change or a habit is deciding what you want. A lot of people don't take the time, just because I get it, like life really is busy, but deciding exactly what you want, getting crystal clear. I like this quote: if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Back to my vivid vision. So I shared my vivid vision with Christy, Cardio Chris, I think in March of 2020. No, it was right before everything shut down. So it was, maybe it had everything shut down yet. I think it was right before. So it was in March, but it was right before everything shut down. I shared it with her, and then a year later, we had become business partners, but a year later we had a retreat in San Diego. And this is with some of the ladies within our group. And in this group, there's a combined weight loss of 150 pounds.
Ooh,
So it was cool, like me sharing with Christy, like my vision. She thought, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And we made it happen. Here's
wow,
just,
great.
this was like the most amazing thing. I've never done this before, but we did yoga on the beach as the sun was setting, because Christy teaches yoga.
Mhm.
And it was like probably top 10 things I've ever done. It was really cool.
Wow. Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
yeah, and Brittany was there also. And she said, this is part of your vision. I was like, yeah, it actually surpassed my vision. It's better than my vision. So when you partner up with the right people, they'll help you make things happen. I'm going to switch gears a little bit to getting into Atomic Habits. This is the book that I really like if you're wanting to read it. I don't know. Have you heard of Atomic Habits before?
Yep. Definitely.
Have you read it?
I haven't read this one, no.
It's a good Audible also.
Great.
So I highly recommend it. This is where I'm getting this information.
I'll put it in the chat. And I put the other one in the chat as well.
Okay, cool. So basically you have 3 layers of behavior change. You have the outcome, which is the actual goal. Then you have the process, which is the strategy on how you're going to reach the goal. And then you have the identity, or who you are becoming as you work towards your goal. Most people do, they work from the outcome in, but you really want to work from who you're becoming or your identity and work that way out. So when you're making a choice, he gives an example in the book that there was a lady that lost 100 or dropped 100 pounds. And every time she made a decision, she would say, I am becoming, or I am a healthy person. What would a healthy person do in this situation? And that geared her behavior towards who she was becoming. And by default, she reached her goal or the outcome. So it's super important to keep that in mind. Who are you becoming? I should have switched this up a little bit. Sorry, I gave this as a business presentation earlier, but as nurses, I know we're focused on self-care and taking care of ourselves, but I am becoming healthy. I am the type of person who takes care of myself so I can better show up to serve whatever it is that you are trying to do or who you are becoming. And then it's really important within my vivid vision. I've talked about like what success means to me, and everyone's definition is going to be different. So I just want to encourage you to make your own definition of success, because if not, then the world is going to tell you what success means. And for me, I've learned that there really is power in journaling and then sharing it. And I gave that example with creating my vivid vision, but I also write in my journal, and that's helped me a lot with anxiety, because a lot of the issues with anxiety is dealing with the unknown. And so for me to have a plan that I'm working towards, that alleviated a lot of anxiety. So even during 2020, because that's when I wrote this, for about 2 weeks, I kind of gave up on my morning and evening routine, and I had a lot of anxiety, and I'm like, what is going on? And so I went back to the basics of listening to my vivid vision and doing my morning and evening routine, and my anxiety resolved. It was awesome. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Clarity fuels motivation and action. Action is what produces the results. For me, I got really clear on my why. There's an exercise that you can do by Benjamin Hardy. It's an article that he wrote, but you go 7 layers deep. And when you do that, you get to your core values. And I actually did it, and I was surprised like how deep I went. I was like, wow. I think the first layer was like, I just want to help people feel better. And then it's like, okay, why do you want to help people feel better? And you just go deeper and deeper. So mine is, when men and women feel their best holistically, then they are a stronger force for good and can better show up to serve. Basically, the people that I work with, that's what they're trying to do. They're serving people all the time, but when they feel better, as you saw in those pictures, they can better show up in the world and be a better force for good. So that's what fuels me on the hard days. Like, I remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know, like in healthcare, it's easy to get distracted and overwhelmed and remember why you're doing what you're doing. So that's why it's important to go back to that. As far as creating systems and habits, I love this quote. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Again, a lot of times we get super excited and we have these awesome goals, and we think that if we have it posted or visualize it, it's going to happen. But if the process or the strategy to get there isn't working, if the system's not working, then you're not going to reach your goal. So I really like that. I can see you nodding. Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, no, that sounds right. I mean, having them both together, or all of that together, works. But yeah, having a good strategy, of course, is important.
I also love the book Essentialism. And this is one of my favorite quotes from the book. Once you figure out which activities and efforts to keep, the ones that make your highest levels of contribution, you need a system to make executing your intentions as effortless as possible. So again, I want to recommend that book. I love it.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for the Rex. I'll share it with the group.
If you're like, okay, Katie, enough about the clarity, but really, if you're not clear, then you don't know which actions to actually take. So here's some clarifying questions that at first, when I read them, I was like, oh, these are kind of harsh, but really, if you have an essentialist mindset, or you're going off the 80-20 principle, if you've studied anything about that, you need to focus on like what's working. So here's some questions you can ask yourself as far as clarifying questions. So which activities or actions produce the biggest results? So you can apply this to your health. Like, what is it that you're doing that's going to help you to get the best results? Which, I guess, customers, we could say clients or patients. We'll just skip that question. And then I'll redo this last question, But basically, you want to look at who in your life is bringing positive energy and who isn't. And then you just flip it. So which activities are producing the least results towards my goal? And then which people in your life are adding negative energy? And I know it's hard to think about, but those type of people you want to try and distance yourself from as much as possible.
I think with the pandemic, it also kind of clarified who you want to hang out with or stay in touch with and who not as important or
right
healthy.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast. Well, it was actually an email for a podcast, but he posed the question, the author of Essentialism, which activities did you get rid of in 2020 that you don't miss, that like made your life easier? And are you going to add them back or are you not? And basically, there's a few things that I was doing that I quit doing that I realized that I don't want to keep doing that added more stress to my life. So as far as habits go, here's the 4 laws for building or breaking habits. And it comes from this, it's actually the habit loop. And it starts with the cue, and then you have the craving, then the response, and the reward. So just to give an example of this, we all deal with this with our cell phone. The cue would be your phone vibrates or it dings. And so the craving is wanting to know who just texted me, who wants to get a hold of me. So you look at your phone, that's your response. And then the reward is actually receiving that message, looking at that message. Another example would be like brushing your teeth. The cue is, I just woke up, I have morning breath, or I just ate garlic. I'm craving to have a clean mouth. My response is I'm going to brush my teeth. The reward is now I have minty, fresh breath. So you can do that with basically any behavior. As far as the cue, if you're building a good habit, then you want to make it obvious. You want to make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Breaking a bad habit, you want to make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it hard, or make it unsatisfying. So we're going to go into a few examples of this in the next few slides, just so that you can kind of get an idea. Tiny Habits is another good book. It's written by he's a scientist over the behavior design lab at Stanford University, BJ Fogg. Basically the same thing. You want to make the new habit easier to do, make the old habit harder to do. You want to, as far as motivation, make the new habit more motivating, make the old habit less motivating. So back to the habit loop. If you're wanting to create a habit, this is what you want to do as far as the cues go, or the prompts. The first step is to track your current habits. Like, what is it that you want to change? Or, do you want to break a bad habit, or do you want to create a new habit? One example, or one thing that you can do, is use implementation intentions. And I think, as nurses, we can think about this with our patients, and all of us are probably doing this with our patients, but this is something that you could do for yourself also. So I will behavior at time and location. The more specific you get, the more likely you are to follow through. So maybe it could be like, I will take 3 deep breaths at, the time would be when I sit down to chart. Location would be, sitting down in front of the computer, just taking like 3 deep breaths to reset. As far as like our patients go, you could say, I will do my coughing and deep breathing. I worked in the surgery area, so that's me, but every nurse is going to implement it differently. I will do my coughing and deep breathing when I get up, after I get up and use the bathroom, and I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, just something like that. because I know a lot of times I would just write on the board, like, remember to cough and deep breathe. But if you have an actual time and location, then you're more likely to follow through. As far as habit stacking, I actually kind of just talked about this. After I go to the bathroom, I will new habit. So after current habit, I will new habit. You can do this with like brushing your teeth, any of the meals that you eat every day. Going to the bathroom is a big one because it's something that you do all the time. BJ Fogg talks about creating his push-up habit. He would do one push-up after he would go to the bathroom. And before you knew it, he was doing like 20 push-ups. So start small and build upon it. And then design your environment to work in your favor and make your cues obvious. So if you're wanting to break a bad habit, this is something that I've done. I wanted to decrease the amount of social media that I was doing. So what I did with my phone is I put on this phone, you can see Facebook is on the front page. A lot of people do that. Or like Instagram. I actually put it on, I don't know if you can see my phone. You can't really see my phone. I put it on the last page, like I scroll over and then I put it in a folder that says boundaries. So it's harder to get to. And the research shows that if you can hide the prompt, then that could actually just take care of it right there if you get rid of the cue. So that way I check it a lot less often than if it was on the front page getting notifications.
Yeah, and then you like, oh no, it was and then you also like have to think twice when you're opening something that says boundaries. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And I moved my email too. So my email's in that boundaries folder also, just because I hate the email has become urgent. I'm like, email is not a text message. Like I should be able to get to that within 24 hours or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And in Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week, he just checks it like twice a day, like minimizing the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find that that's more productive instead of checking all the time and getting sidetracked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, that's another one of those things that has reduced anxiety because I feel like we treat too many things like emergencies and they're not, like, so yeah. As far as the second part of the habit loop, oh, I just spaced it. Let's see, the craving part. Make it attractive. So if you're wanting to create a new habit, you want to make it attractive. You could use temptation bundling. Pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. It's been shared quite a bit. Like, say you have a favorite Netflix series that you want to watch, you could hop on the treadmill or do your stretching, do something like that during a favorite activity that you have. Join a culture where your desired behavior is the norm. That's been huge in my weight loss community, especially for those that are getting off sugar and white flour, because it really is an addiction. And I mean, you'll go places where people are like, why aren't you eating that? But if you're within a support group, then it's the normal behavior. Another one is create a motivational ritual. Do something you enjoy right before a difficult habit. I know athletes do this all the time where they'll listen to motivational music before they go to the gym and also music at the gym. But I've even done that where I've listened to Unstoppable by The Score in the morning when I'm, eating my first meal, thinking about how I'm going to eat well for the day. I pair it with a motivational song. As far as the craving, to break a bad habit, you want to make it unattractive, reframe your mindset, focus on the benefits of avoiding your bad habit. In the book, Atomic Habits, he shares an example. I can't remember what country it was. I'm pretty sure it was in Europe. They worked with smokers and just focused on telling them like repeatedly over, I think it was like a few weeks, how bad smoking was. And the majority of them quit smoking. So you could do this with other unwanted behaviors. The main thing is to make it as easy as possible, to reduce the amount of friction or steps between you and your good habit. Like if you're wanting to work out in the morning, you want to set your alarm. Like if you can, set your alarm next to the clothes that you're going to be putting on in the morning. Like have your workout clothes ready to go. Like just have everything ready to go. Prepare your environment to make future actions easier. Again, like if you're wanting to meditate, have a space that you want to go, or if you're wanting to journal, have the journal where you're going to see it so that your environment is working in your favor. Optimize the small choices that deliver the biggest impact. Use the 2-minute rule. This was a big one that he talked about. Tell yourself, okay, I'm just going to do this for 2 minutes. I'm going to make it that easy. Usually once you get started, that's the hardest part, then you can keep going. But at least, even if you only do 2 minutes, you made it happen and you have confidence moving forward, because confidence really is huge when you're creating a new habit. And then automate your habits, invest in technology and one-time purchases that lock in future behavior. Have you done any of these things, Claudia, with your new goals?
Well, I do have a regular meditation spot and everything's there. And I do have a journal right in front of it. So I can jot down after I meditate, because I think things are clearer to me afterwards. And let's see. Oh, buying like a bunch of veggies from the store and bringing it to work, like that makes things easier. And I have some like go-to things that I like and make things taste yummy. So that makes things a lot easier for me. Because if I don't have food ready at work, I'm just gonna it's a likelier chance of making a poor decision, especially if I don't have much time. And yeah, I have to, I've done like 10-day meditation retreats before, but I can't, coming back from traveling and having time to do things like that, I had to really think about what habits I wanted to keep and realistic time frames to do it too. So I couldn't meditate all day. I have to
wow, how many of those have you done?
Oh, I just did a 10-day Vipassana retreat, but so it's 10 hours a day of meditating. And then wow. Yeah, other times I would have more time, or I'll set more time to do things like that, or long yoga sessions. But to make it work for me and my regular work, I had to prioritize and slim it down a bit to what I found was most effective. Yeah. And then, well, I haven't heard of the 2-minute rule, but it is, the hardest part is starting sometimes for certain things. So yeah, once you get into it, then it'll be easier also. So that's a good tip.
Well, thanks for sharing your examples.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed that you did 10 hours of meditation a day.
I wanted to leave. But I knew friends that had done it successfully. So yeah.
So 10 hours for 10 days.
Yeah, there's breaks, you meditate maybe 2-hour sections at a time or so, and you eat twice a day, and you can't talk. For that one, you couldn't talk to anybody either, and you weren't supposed to look at people in their eyes. It's like a Cuenca style Vipassana meditation. You can walk in the courtyard during breaks, but you couldn't write down anything either. You couldn't do yoga. It was just meditating basically, and eating a little bit and walking a bit.
Wow, that's amazing. So did you feel good afterwards?
Yeah, it was good. It was my mind was quiet, but it was kind of easing into into life after that. I didn't want to check my emails after that because I knew there was going to be a ton of, but kind of easing into it. And I was in a nature place. It was in Thailand, so it was a
wow,
quiet place afterwards to reintegrate.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'll have to do a mini version of that someday.
Yeah, that's kind of commitment.
So as far as breaking the bad habit, you want to increase the friction, make it harder to do. I kind of gave the example with my iPhone. It's a lot harder for me to check my email because there's more steps involved. And then use a commitment device, restrict your future choices to ones that benefit you. As far as the reward portion of the feedback loop, you want to make it satisfying, use positive reinforcement, immediate reward for the behavior. BJ Fogg talks a lot about this, how important it is to celebrate while you are creating your new habit. So even like playing your favorite song, or he talks about you literally like pretend that you just scored a goal in soccer, or someone just made a touchdown. Like, what would you do? Like, yes, like do that while you're creating your habit. Or I've done a lot of positive self-talk, like say I'm eating healthy food or whatever, like, oh, this is so good for my body, and just like programming your brain using the positive reinforcement. Make doing nothing enjoyable. So if you're, I guess, cutting something out, you want to make that experience enjoyable. Use a habit tracker, keep track of a habit streak, and don't break the chain. That's huge. It's actually considered a dopamine hit to see the consecutive days on a calendar that you do something. And then as far as like the all or nothing mentality, a lot of people will do that. Just have the mindset of I won't miss twice. So if you get off track, just don't miss twice in a row. And then an accountability partner is huge. For me, that's like made the biggest difference. Whether it's business, whether it's my health, if I commit to someone else that I'm going to do something, then I do it. And so something that I've done is I have a habit contract, and I wrote the terms of like what I want to do for the month or the length of time of the contract. And then this actually goes to make it unsatisfying. I will pay my accountability partners if I don't follow through.
Oh,
yeah. And I put like, yeah. So it really makes you think twice, and you lock in that habit. That's been huge for me.
I heard another strategy is donating to a charity that you don't like, that you don't support if you like miss.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah, one that I read, an example in the book was this guy, he had to pay his trainer like a significant amount of money. And then he also had to wear gear for another team, like a hat of a team that he wasn't a fan of.
Wow, yeah,
he didn't do it. Yeah.
That's a good one. I also heard for one of the points that you mentioned, like don't miss twice. There's another strategy that I heard of also, like, because sometimes you can't, like if a goal is like working out an hour every day and you just really can't do it that day, you can have an alternate, a plan B that you know to go to. That's so you're not like freaking out and feeling bad about yourself, but you have this alternate you can do.
Right. I like that. That's a good idea. I love this quote about accountability. Pearson's law is when performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. And as nurses, again, we're always reporting. So we get that. Like if you have to report to someone else, you're going to show up better. I'm just going to skip. For the sake of time, I need to be wrapping up, right, Claudia?
Yeah, in a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite quotes from Essentialism is protect the asset, you are the asset. So if we don't take care of ourselves, how are you going to show up to serve anyone else or accomplish your goals? Because you are the asset. That's it. And then as far as, I'll just kind of skip ahead. to a morning and an evening routine. This is actually what I do for my evening routine. I'll check in with my accountability partner, and it literally takes like 2 minutes to just report my goals for the day, like that I said that I would do. And then my 5-minute journal. I don't know if you've ever used a 5-minute journal, but it has journaling prompts. Basically, you list like what you're thankful for, what you're looking forward to the day for the day, and then affirmations. And it has like an inspirational quote. And then in the evening, you talk about 3 great things that happened and what you'll do better the next day. And I've loved it. I went through that. And then there's a 6-minute diary. Right now, I'm using a journal from Miracle Morning. So that's really helped me. I like to gratitude journal at night also. For me, I don't know why, but for years, I would just like hop into bed and I would think about everything that I didn't get done for the day, even though I'd like worked my butt off, you know? And so I'm like, this is dumb. Like, I need to change the narrative in my brain. And so having a gratitude journal is like active meditation of remembering what you're grateful for and, you know, what you accomplished for the day. And I go to bed a lot happier. And then for me, I've worked on not having electronics at night. And that's in my habit contract. That's actually something I've had to pay for the last couple of weeks because I'll check Instagram or whatever, not even thinking about it. So getting rid of the electronics at night. And we all know that, like we've heard, like the blue light isn't great at night. Like you go to bed better, sleep better. So as far as morning essentials, I've really been working on this, and I'm a much nicer person when I take time in the morning to take care of the important versus the urgent. So start small and then build upon it. As far as taking care of the important, that's like getting centered for the day, getting grounded, remembering your why, reading versus hopping into other people's agendas. You've probably heard that a lot, but like checking your email, getting on Facebook, like when you do that, that's a lower level of input, and that affects your mindset for the day. So higher level inputs first thing in the morning have really helped me. So I like to read something spiritual, some sort of uplifting material. And then, like I mentioned, I'll listen to my vivid vision while I make my bed. When I make my bed, I just feel like I've accomplished so much for the day. And then pray and 5-minute journal. So I could do this all within like 10 minutes. If you don't have that much time, you could create something that's 5 minutes long, but just something where you're focused on you and your self-care versus taking care of everyone else. So as far as a call to action, I just want to encourage you to get clear on your goals and the actions that are going to produce the most results as far as protecting the asset. Create a morning and evening routine. Start small and build upon it. And then read or listen to Atomic Habits or Tiny Habits. Since we're all nurses and a lot of you are working, I love to listen to audibles in the car. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, but then I realized that in a lot of the podcasts, they reference books. So I'm like, I'm going to listen to the book. So I've loved Audible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts that you want to share, Claudia?
Yeah, I use Audible too, especially like if I have to drive long or fold laundry or something or clean up. Of course, not something too technical or because I can't like write notes, but it makes, I feel accomplished, and it makes the task of like doing that chore also easier because I'm listening to something professional.
Yeah, that's one of the techniques of a habit, is pairing it with something that you don't necessarily want to do with something that you do want to do. Yeah, mm-hmm. I listen to Audible all the time with dishes, laundry, driving. Like there's always plenty of it.
Yeah, or taking a walk, like getting out and listening to something inspirational. but yeah, these are great calls to action, getting clear, because yeah, we could, life will take you in all different directions, and people are always asking of things of you also. So getting clear on your own goals, and I love that you listen to your goals like all day, every day as a reminder, first thing. And yeah, morning, evening routine is so important.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I probably listen to my Vivid Vision like 4 times a week. It's not like every single day, but I at least journal or something. But I'm much happier now that I've started doing that.
Yeah, that's great, because it can be like, oh, months go by and like, oh, I'm not doing anything towards this like goal that I have. Like, what happened? Yeah, now things are opening up more too, in the US because the pandemic is a little bit better. So there's lots of new distractions too. So yeah, getting focused again, prioritizing. But yeah, this Atomic Habits is a book that keeps coming up. So I'm going to definitely read that one. Thank you so much for all the book recommendations as well.
You're welcome.
Inspirational.
I think that, so if you would like to reach out, oops, I don't know what I just did, but feel free to contact me via email. I am going to start Instagram again. I took a break from it for a bit.
Sure.
During 2020. It was just like too much, but I'm going to start doing it again. So anyway, my handle on there is Nurse Kate Wellness. And there's a period in between nurse and Kate and wellness. So I actually didn't put that on there. And then my website is 5startransformations.com, 2 R's in star. And you can contact me there too.
Great. And where, you said you have a group of 60 people. That's wonderful, with like another nurse and cardio and your cardio friend.
Yeah. So what we did, those are actual clients. And so we use the app Slack. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, I use it at work.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we just use Slack, and we have like daily motivation in there, and the accountability group and mindset. So that's what we use.
Yeah.
The Slack group. I really did go away from social media for a bit. So I've had Facebook groups in the past, but I haven't been good about keeping up with them. So
yeah, it can be a lot. Lots of things.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Katie. Thank you for giving us all these tools and things to think about, and really set our goals with clarity. But thank you so much. Was there anything else you'd like to add? I think we talked about a lot.
I guess just start small. And I mean, the biggest thing that I could say is to get clear, start small, and have an accountability partner. That's the best way to follow through with your habits.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, thank you so much. This is amazing, valuable tools, lots of great recommendations. Thank you. And thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. And thanks everyone for watching as well. Happy Wellness Wednesdays. I hope you can take this talk and really think about what you want out of life and what habits you can set your mind to reach your goals. So thank you so much. Have a great evening, everyone, and take care. Be well.